Jagrative, Jai Masters. I always come back to foundational truths. We should all learn to live there and then grow from there. The most foundational truths are as follows. You're born and you're going to die. In between that, there is this span of time called your life. There's another foundational truth before we go into that one. You're sitting on a little planet spinning in the middle of nowhere. And I can't help myself because you need to constantly be aware of what nowheres means. 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. You're sitting on that, rotating, doing a 360 on the axis each day. I told you, here's the truth. What did you do today? A 360. What did you do this year? A big 360. Around one star, of which 1.3 million of your little pieces of dirt fit, and there are 300 billion stars in your galaxy. People tell me numbers like that don't mean anything to people. They're too big. I can't comprehend them. So here, I don't know you, but you've been picked. Go into the corner and count from 1 to 300 billion. 1 second at a time. 1, 2, 3. How long will it take you? It will take you 100 lifetimes of 90 years each. And that's if you could do each one in a second. And you can't do 257 billion, 13 billion, 800 something in a second. So therefore, you better live longer. That is how many stars are in your galaxy. And I won't play with the numbers, but there's 2 trillion galaxies. Okay, so now let's tie those two truths together. There's this little dinky thing spinning around in the middle of absolutely nowheres, just black empty space, and you fell on it for a few years. How long has it been going on? Well, the scientists tell us best they can tell 13.8 billion. And you'll live how long? 60, 70, 80, 90? Who cares? It's so small, it's ridiculous. On this little tiny piece of dirt spinning around that. Okay. Well, why is that a meaningful truth? Because if I could sit down with each one of you, I would ask you, how could you have a problem? How can you have a problem? You just drop down on the planet, spin around, and then you leave. Here's the problem. But I don't want to leave. Oh, I see. That's the problem. You can't handle those truths. You can't come into harmony with reality. I don't want to die. And is that the only thing you don't want to do? No. I don't want him to walk with her. And I don't want to be this cold. I don't want to be this hot. And I don't want to go to the party wearing the same dress or suit that I had custom made and somebody else is wearing it. How many of those could I tell you? As many as there are stars in the galaxies. So you have things the way you want them to be. And things that you don't want them to be while you're sitting in this little piece of dirt spinning around in the middle of nowhere for a few years. Then that's the beef, isn't it? You understand how deep you just went? One of the deepest writings ever written spiritually is the Treatise on Faith Mind by the third Zen patriarch. This is deep stuff. All you need is the first line. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. In other words, if you're able to sit on the planet, spin around for a few years, and leave, you don't got a problem, do you? You will not suffer. You will not suffer, ever. The great way, meaning enlightenment, the truth, the whole, is not difficult for those who have no preferences. The inverse to that is, of course, the great way is extremely difficult for those who have preferences. Isn't it? There, go home. I've taught you everything I know. That's what I've learned in my life. Okay? That is the truth. You know who else learned it? Buddha. He had 4 noble truths. 4 noble truths. 1, all of life is suffering. Now, you may be a New Age doobie, think that's pretty negative. Why would I follow a religious leader who says all life is suffering? Because it is. because you suffer because it's too hot. You suffer because it's too cold. You suffer because your boyfriend's walking with somebody else. You suffer because you don't know who he's with. Even if he's not walking with somebody else, he might be. All of life is suffering. He noticed that. Rich people suffer. Stock markets have been dropping a whole lot. If you don't have any money, it doesn't matter at all. Rich people suffer. Poor people suffer. Old people are suffering. Oh, we so old. Young people are suffering. I wish I was older. Married people are suffering. Oh my God! I got the kids. I got so much to do. I can't do what I want. Not married people are suffering. I'm so lonely. Everybody's suffering. Have we communicated? All of life is suffering. Not every second you're suffering. He didn't mean that. He said all life is suffering. You were born, you die. What are you doing between? You suffer. I didn't get the toy I wanted. I'm throwing a tantrum. They're terrible twos. Okay? And you kind of kept it that way all the way up. You just got a little more mature about it. Okay? That's one noble truth. That's a heck of a truth, isn't it? But then it's amazing. I respect Buddha so deeply. You know, he was a prince. He lived in a castle. He had a wife and a child, a little baby. Someday he'd inherit the kingdom. And I want to tell a story, but they didn't used to let him go outside the walls. His parents didn't want him to go outside the walls to see all the suffering. So they tried to create a false environment for their darling little boy to live in. And one day he went out and he saw the world. And he saw everybody suffering. And he wanted to know why. Just like you would ask, why is there a war? Why they invade this? A perfectly reasonable question. Why is everybody suffering? But he didn't just sit there and read a philosophy book. He said, I want to figure this out. I really want to figure this out. And he left the castle and he went off and wandered and met people and did things and starved. And he just asked this question to the core of his being. Why is everybody suffering? And he left all his friends and he just wandered out into the woods. And one day he came back. And he was like shining like light. And he told them, I have found the cause of suffering. What do you mean the cause? We know the cause of suffering. Old age, sickness, poverty, prejudice. We know the cause of suffering. He said, no, the cause of suffering. There's just one cause of all suffering. The second noble truth, the cause of suffering is desires, preference. What is a desire? A preference. A way I want things to be. So that's the second noble truth. The cause of all suffering is people have ways they want things to be. Third noble truth. To end suffering, stop it. There's not watered down stuff. He saw the cause of suffering is because you have preferences. And he saw that the great way was not difficult for those who have no preferences. And therefore, all life is suffering. The cause of suffering is preferences. To end suffering, deal with that. Deal with that. And well, how? That's the fourth noble truth. The Eightfold Path of Buddhism. And that's what they all focus on. But they forget about the deeper thing that you're really saying. Is what we said in the beginning. You're born and you die. In between there's a thing called life. That's true of everybody. That's that. What you do with it is your business. Your parents, no, they don't run your life. They don't. Life was given to you. That's yours. Respect your parents. Nobody says you don't do that. You can learn from people. But your choice is, what do I want to do between my birth and my death? That's nobody else's choice. So the question becomes, do you want to suffer? No, I don't want to suffer. Then you come back to what we said. How can you be suffering when you drop down, I told you, onto a planet, a little piece of dirt? It's kind of a nice planet. You're so lucky to be in the generation you're in. You have probes that have gone everywhere. Mars, Jupiter, Venus. They landed on some of those planets. And they took pictures and they did everything. They're mapping Mars. They want to go land there. What have they found? One flower? No. One animal? No. One amoeba? No. One protozoa? No. No living anything have they found thus far. And so basically you landed on a planet. Are there flowers here? How many kinds? Every single flower you ever saw in the botanical garden came from Earth. How many animals are there? I forget how many. How many types of animals are there? Oh my God, who knows? It's phenomenal. How many fish, types of fish? How many things are there? Will you give me a break? Where would you rather be, Mars? There ain't squat going on. Anywhere else that we have found. There could be. You all say, oh, it's so big, there must be other life. I don't know. Who am I to say what's going on? But the truth matter is we haven't found anything. And we got telescopes. The James Webb and the Hubble, they look way out there. They haven't found nothing. Stars blowing up and all kinds of galaxies crashing together. It's big stuff. and you get this protected thing. Like, you can't go to outer space. Either if you're facing the sun, you're burned up instantly, or if you're not facing the sun, you're frozen, it's over. Really, the James Webb, when they put up one of the biggest things they had to solve is build shields that can balance that heat so that this thing can survive. And how did you do that? Oh, I don't know. There's this atmosphere. And when the sun's rays comes down, if it takes care of it and purifies it, and then it keeps the air, woo! Thank you. Thank you. You have quite the spaceship, don't you? And all you do is complain. Come on. All you do is complain. I can't believe you said that to me. I never thought you would say something like that. What is that? Complaining. You mean you had a way you wanted me to be? Sorry. The cause of suffering is preference. And we have a boatload, don't we? That's what humans have done. If they've created preference systems and they're all different. Do you understand that? Now we get into, we made it kind of nice. You're born, you have the time between your birth and your death, and you're sitting on a little planet rotating around the sun and rotating in your axis. Have fun. Why would I have fun? Because it's beautiful. You know, I notice, I take walks in the morning. I'm very lucky, we live out here in the woods, right? And I'm walking, all of a sudden I hear, the planet sings to you. All over the place. You landed on the most beautiful place that could ever possibly be. It is the Garden of Eden compared to the rest of space. Compared to the rest that's going on, there's this garden here. It's a zoo, it's a garden, it's got things to do, have things to do every day. You keep yourself busy, you can play with computers, you can play with cell phones, you can do all kinds of things. And all you do is complain. And don't think you don't. All you do is complain. Okay? Spirituality is about what we just talked about. And I don't care what path you're following, I don't care what religion or no religion, I don't care if you're an atheist, I don't care. It doesn't make any difference. That's just mine. The reality is you were born and you're going to die. What do you want to do in between? And if you say suffer, I don't know what's wrong with you. That's the silliest thing in the whole world, that you would want to spend this time in between your birth and death suffering. And so this is what you do. And this you is generic. Don't take it personal. This is what you do. You sit there and say, well, that's true. I do suffer. But I notice that if I get what I want, if I get my preferences, at least for a while, I'm not suffering. I kind of like it. I kind of like when I get my preferences. How about you? But I don't like when I don't get my preferences, and I sure as heck don't like when I get what I don't want. So you got this little, I used to call it a truth table. Remember? In school you study truth tables. There's 4 quadrants, right? If I get what I want, I'm fine. If I don't get what I want, I'm very disappointed. I'm not doing so well. If I get what I don't want, I'm getting dark. I get depressed if it lasts too long. And if I don't have to get what I don't want, I feel relieved. There, I just defined you, didn't I? Okay? So, and this is what we're going to talk about. Get to work. Now, that meant something different to you than it meant to me. Because when I say get to work to you, it meant, why are you wasting your time sitting here listening to this? Get out there and get what you want. Get out there and work. It's hard work, isn't it? Get out there and work to get what you want. Get everyone to treat you the way you want to be treated, and see the way you want to see you, and think about you the way they want to think about you, and make sure that as you're getting older, everything's going to happen the way you want it to, and nobody puts you in a nursing home. Get busy, because that's what you're going to do. You're going to be very, very busy, struggling to make it be the way you want it to be, so you can have that one quadrant of the truth table. How often, really, has it been exactly the way you want it to be? Where there were no complaints, there were no qualifications, there was no fears, there was no anxieties, there was no anything. You were just, whoa, this is beautiful. I'm not saying it didn't happen. How long did it last? Don't blush, because I'm telling you, the state of complete ecstasy, of total well-being, with no qualifications, totally 100% there. I could count the number of times it happened, if you're lucky, on 5 fingers throughout your life. But when I got married, you're worried about the napkins and whether it was going to rain and who's going to come and who sat next to who. Don't give me that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about complete well-being. There's nothing bothering you. There's nothing going on in your mind. Your heart's totally open, and you're just in a state of, let's see, Buddha called it nirvana. You're in a state of total well-being. Really, truthfully, how often has that happened in your life? And then how long did it last? A few moments. That somebody you cared for all of a sudden surprised you and came up to you and said, I've been too embarrassed to tell you, but since we were together in kindergarten, I've just worshipped the ground you walk on. I love you so much. I just was afraid to tell you. Ooh, that's nice. Till he walks over and says it to somebody else. Or he doesn't have to. All it has to do is walk away, and your mind instantly says, really? Did they mean that? Can I trust? I've trusted people before. Yes or no? It doesn't happen, and it doesn't last. Okay? So there's that quadrant. So in other words, get to work. Get to work to at least make it acceptable somewhat. All right? And how many times have things happened that hurt you? That's a whole bigger number, isn't it? I don't have enough fingers for that. How many times have people disappointed you? How many times have you not got what you wanted? How many times how many times have you not got what you wanted? How would we say that? Right? What's the comparison between how many you got exactly what you wanted and how many times you got what you didn't want? There's no comparison. And I'll explain to you why. It's not because God doesn't like you. It's not because you did something wrong. It's not your karma. It's very mathematical. I might as well, okay, before I do the other two quadrants, we'll do it. Why is it? Because it's true that there are so few times that I've completely gotten exactly what I wanted and I could feel totally open and loved and just beautiful, versus how many times have I gotten disappointed, gotten hurt, gotten scared, things weren't the way I wanted them to be. Right? Why? It's so obvious, but you won't pay attention to it. How many things are going on right now on the planet Earth? This is one of them. This is one. Are there things going on outside? Are there things going on in every single house, all in Gainesville and all over Florida, and all the sky and the ground and the worms, and then how many things are going on the planet Earth that you could be experiencing? 700, more than the stars in the sky, right? 700 billion things. I mean, look, you're looking at me now. Turn to the left, something else is going on. Turn to the right, something else is going on. Look up, something else is going on. That's just where you're sitting. Everything's everywhere. That's how many things could be happening right now. But you only want one. You didn't say, okay, there's 700 million, I can accept 600 million. No, you did not say that. You said one. One. I want you near me and not near her, and I want one thing to be exactly the way I want. What's the probability out of all the things that could be happening right now? Very low. So you defined it to where that quadrant of getting what you want, the probability is very, very small, because you don't control what's going on. If I put you here, something else is going on. I'll take you to Paris. Wherever I put you, there's something going on. It has to match what you made up in your mind. Well, it's not going to, is it? That's why there's so few times it completely always did. Oh, I love him. He's so beautiful. Ew, he owns a Yugo or an Edsel. No. I said I'd go out with him. I'm not going out there. It doesn't take anything for it not to be what you want, does it? Did anybody understand what I just said to you? It's probably the deepest thing anybody tried to teach you. You make up your preferences. By the way, before you decided what you wanted, did you go out and check reality? No, you just made it up. I like her. I like her when her hair's long. Don't cut your hair. It's like, wow, this should blow your mind. So you made up what you want, and yet the possibility of what could happen, which is, you're not doing it, man. Are you making all those moments that I just talked about that are going on everywhere? What do they got to do with you? Nothing. So your quadrant, remember our truth table, your quadrant that says getting what I want makes me happy, all right? Well, you just made up what you want. In the meantime, the weather's going to be what it is. The people are going to be the way they are. Your job's going to be the way it is. Your boss is going to be the way it is. It is what it is because of all the factors that made it be that way. It's called cause and effect. So the boss wasn't nice when he came in today and gave you exactly what you didn't want to do, and he probably knew it because he had a fight with his wife or she had a fight. You hear me? It's just all happening. It's a happening place. And so it all goes on, and you basically made up one way you want it to be every moment. This is how I want it to be this moment. I want it to be this moment. I want it to be this moment. It's the truth, isn't it? Therefore, the probability that life is going to unfold every moment that matches your little truth table that you made up is so low, it's ridiculous. And that's why I begged you to tell me how often has literally everything has been exactly the way you wanted, to where you just went into ecstasy. That's it. I'm not complaining. There's nobody talking in there. It's just like, wow. Right? I'm telling you, one hand if you're lucky. And it only lasts for a moment. Then we take the next quadrant, which is, if I don't get what I want, I'm disappointed. Ever feel disappointed? Ever feel left out? Ever feel the world's against you? Ever get mad at God? You live with the fear. Even if you're not getting disappointed, you're afraid you will be in the future. So that quadrant, because I'm telling you, you don't realize it, that's because you know you don't control the universe. You do not control the next moment. Anything can happen, can't it? You get a stomach ache all of a sudden. Anything can happen. Anything. But that's not what you want. Therefore, the probability that it won't be the way you want, that you'll have to deal with the fact that it's not the way you want, that something, right, you're not getting what you want, is so high I can't even talk about it. And that's what causes the problem. And now we come back and do the next one. How often have you gotten what you don't want? Forget that you didn't get what you want. Make sure you understand this truth table. The second one wasn't everything goes wrong. The second one is I didn't get what I wanted. Wow. The third one is I got what I didn't want. It's all around your preferences. Do you see that? Every one of these things on that truth table is a factor around the fact that you have a preference. I have a preference, therefore I'm only okay if it's exactly the way the preference is. I have a preference. I'm disappointed if I didn't get my preference. I have a preference that I don't want this to happen. How many times has life unfolded in front of you that you had trouble? Forget, I'm not talking about being disappointed. You didn't get what you want. It did what you didn't want, and you got hurt. You don't get hurt if it's not the way you want. You get disappointed. If it's the way you don't want, you get scared, you get hurt, you get traumatized. How many times does that happen? Lots of times. People get hurt all the time. It doesn't take much, does it? Like I said, if you sit there and say, I can't believe you said that. I never thought you would say that to me. In other words, that's something I didn't want to hear. So not just that something actually happened, I didn't want to hear it. How about I didn't want to think it? I don't want to think about somebody I love leaving me. I don't know what making you come here. I didn't come here to remind me that that might happen. That's bad. You can get hurt that way. Just even thinking about that something you don't want to happen could happen. But you never do that, do you? You never think about that something you don't want to happen might happen. It's called worrying. Okay? Now are you getting why Buddha taught this? He didn't analyze it. He knew the realization. And then, like I said, certainly it is true that if you're scared that something will happen that you don't want, and it doesn't happen, you just say, thank God. You feel relieved. For how long? You thought you were sick. You know, some of the x-rays or scans, something came back, and some of the doctors said, I'm going to look at this a little further. Whoa, oh my God, I don't want to go through that. That'd be terrible. And then you get a call, you're scared to death. Come on, let's deal with reality. You're scared to death to pick up that phone. You do, and he says, no, there's nothing, you're fine. How you feel? You feel relieved, don't you? Guess what? Your mind will tell you, oh my God, that was so scary. What if it happens? What if I get sick? What would happen? What if my child gets sick? And it starts doing that even if you're relieved, it reminded you that that terrible thing could have happened, and now you worry about it. Does anybody see why they can't win? Now do you understand why all life is suffering? And every single thing that we just talked about, I'm sorry to be so intense with you, but it is very important. If you want to have a nice time between your birth and your death, you need to think about this. You need to understand this, because this is what's happening. You can't just make believe it's not. And what you do about it is, like I said, okay, Mickey, you're right. I see how many things can go wrong and how little goes right and so on. I better get to work to increase my percentages. Well, from 0.00001 to 0.00001, well, give me a break. You're not going to control the world. So you have a choice. The purpose of this talk is about the word work. So you say, I got work to do. I better make sure I get the job I want. I better make sure that everybody's loyal to me. I better make sure that people don't say things that I don't want to hear. I better make sure when I turn on the TV, especially the news, that it's the way I want. Good luck. Better make sure the football games end up the way we want. So, I mean, give me a break. But you go work thinking you're going to fix it by manipulating the moments unfolding in front of you. By the way, which is the only moment you can deal with. It's the only one that's real. The past, you're not going to manipulate it. The future, you can have effect on it. You could be one of the factors, but you can't manipulate it. It hasn't even happened yet. You don't know the rest of the factors. But the moment in front of you, you can interact with. And so I better get to work. Better control everybody, better manipulate everybody, better learn how to win friends and influence people. If people like me, I have more control over them. If they don't like me, I have no control over them. I want them to like me. How should I dress? How should I act? How should I talk? Did I say something wrong? Hope I didn't offend anybody. Oh my God, if I offend them, then I might tell somebody else that I'm not a nice person. And then, no? Nobody knows anything about this. Okay? So that's one you can do. You can do that work. Good luck. Check your parents out. Check your grandparents out. Check history. So that's a very interesting work to do. There's another type of work that you can do that does work. Whoa. If we just understand the foundation we built, what's that? I'm the one who made up my preferences. Don't you blame it on your parents? They influenced them. Of course they did. But you're in there. You're a conscious being. Do you notice that things your parents said to you come back and they feel guilt or feel proud or something like that? Yeah, definitely. Skinner said that man is the sum of his learned experiences. Well, it's not true. You are the consciousness that is aware that your psyche is the sum of your learned experiences. You see the difference? You know that what's going on in there is the sum of your learned experiences. You got divorced from Harold, and it was, of course, not a nice situation, right? And now when you hear the name Harold, your heart jumps. Period. 10 years later, somebody says, let's go to the party. Oh, I'm so excited we'll go to the party. And then says, oh boy, Harold will be there. You're not even in America anymore. Harold died 10 years ago. It doesn't matter. You're going to jump. Your heart is going to feel something different. So that basically, you're sitting here understanding that I am in here and I live with this thing called the psyche. My thoughts, my emotions, and they're programmed by my past experiences. And that's the truth. You did not decide what your mind's supposed to say or what your heart feels. You just say, I don't know. I met him in the supermarket, or I met her in the supermarket, and my heart just jumped open. I don't know. I was shopping and the thing, and all of a sudden I started thinking about what happened when I was little. And I don't know. I feel so depressed. I'm so scared. Hello? What kind of life is that? What made you do that? I don't know. I saw borax, and my mother used to buy borax, and it reminded me of my childhood, and now I'm upset. No, nobody's like that. Wake up. So maybe we got some work to do. Not out there. Not, I want to make sure I don't shop where they have boraxes. I want to make sure I shop where someone will be going by that makes my heart pop open. You don't stand a chance. What are your odds? What are you doing? So that work doesn't work, but you're welcome to do it, and everybody's doing it. That's what everybody's doing. They're saying, this is what I like, and this is what I don't like, and I'm going to try and make it be the way I like, and make it not be the way I don't like, period. And that's my work, because that's the only way I can be at least a little better inside. And yes, I'm struggling inside, and yes, I have anxiety, and yes, I have tension, and yes, I get headaches, and yes, I get ulcers, and yes, I'm scared, but I didn't give up. I'm going to do something about it. That's like, wow, you must be a very high being. We all gave up. You still believe it can be your way. You have hope. I hope that someday, I have dreams. You know, I know what your dreams are, that it be the way you want. Look how caught we are in this. We're so caught that I have to keep talking about it because you can't see it. Just like a fish doesn't know they're in water. We are so lost in our preferences that we think they're the only thing that can solve our problem. All right, there's another type of work you can be doing. It's called spiritual work. What does that mean? It's founded on the following. Where did I get these preferences? Why do I have all these preferences? I have a lot of preferences. I don't like hot, I don't like cold, I don't like this person, I don't like the name Harold. If I asked you to list your preferences, you go sit in the corner just like counting to a billion. You would do nothing else all day except try to list the preferences. I want to make sure we're clear here. I'm not talking about the preferences of what's happening right now. Do any of you don't like what happened before? Do you have a preference that it didn't happen? That's really funny, because it happened. And it's not going to not have happened. And there's not a single thing you can do about it happening, because it happened. And throughout your entire life, you've collected bad experiences. Ask Freud, he'll tell you. You've collected everything that bothers you throughout your life, and you don't like that those things happen, but you can't make them not have happened, so now you have to fight with that. You're fighting with the past. You're fighting with a ghost. I can't believe my mother did that. How long? It was 30 years. I don't care. I'll never forgive her. What does that mean? That means you're in trouble. That means you're bothered. Where did you get your preferences? That's where you got your preferences. Certain things made you feel better. Now I prefer them. Certain things made you feel worse. No. Bad. Don't do that. And it develops this preference system because you stored every single event that ever bothered you inside of you. And that's certainly where what you don't want comes from. I already went through that. I don't like that. Okay? So you've got programmed by it. You did not decide your preferences. Don't you dare think you're free to decide your preferences. You're not. These experiences you suppressed that you held on to, both positive and negative, you hold on to positive things too, don't you? Oh, it was so beautiful. That moment was so beautiful. When did it happen? It doesn't matter. No, when did it happen? In junior high school. What was it like? I don't know. I met this guy and it was just so beautiful, and then he moved and we never had a fight ever. I'm looking for him either literally on the web or I'll go out there dating, and I fill out the dating service things. I'm describing him. And shh, don't tell him. Yes or no? You did not decide what you like and what you don't like. You were programmed by your past experiences. Like, the way to see things sometimes are the extremes. If you have traumatic experiences, you literally couldn't handle it. You can't even think about it. You suppress it so far down. Is it affecting your life? Does it affect what you like to do and who you like to be with? It affects every single thing there is. Now, let's say you have a total peak experience, which is the most beautiful thing. It affects your life exactly the same. That's all you want to think about. That's all you want to do. You want to have it again. You want to go back. Oh, I don't know. We were in Arizona when I had that. You want to go back to Arizona because when you were 10, you had a nice experience? No, I got a better one. We're not getting along well. We're having trouble in our marriage. Well, was it always that way? No. You remember the honeymoon when we went to Niagara Falls at that cute little place? Let's go back there. Don't go back there. You don't get along. You're not going to get along because you went back to that room. You'll be throwing things at each other. Do you understand? We're crazy. What we're doing. And then we literally get programmed by these past experiences, and we end up with this whole preference system, and then we go out there and try to make it happen. Try to do the truth table. Okay, that's a lot of work. It's ridiculous. You're never going to get rid of your past like that. It's just going to run. I can't talk about it, literally. It's too overwhelming to think how much you will suffer. Now you understand what Buddha meant? All life is suffering. There's another type of work you can be doing. You can be in here and be conscious, which you are. How do you know what your preferences are? Because I'm in here, I see them. How do you know you like something? It gets nice in there. How do you know you don't like something? It gets all weird in there. How do you know these things? Because I'm in here. Who is in there? Is it the same you that knows when it feels nice, that knows when it feels yicky? There's one consciousness. There's only one awareness of being inside of you. You. But there's all this other stuff. All these other thoughts and all these other preferences and all these other heartaches and heart openings. And can you tell when your heart's open? Can you tell when your heart's closed? Who is this that knows that? I'm telling you, I'm a yogi. I don't care why your heart opens and closes. That's not what interests me. What interests me is how you know that it does. Because that's the way out. You're sitting there, your consciousness is addicted to paying attention to your preferences. It doesn't have to be. I assure you. Consciousness itself is a thing. It's called awareness. It is the most important thing in your life. Not your husband, not your wife, not your kids, not your health. Nope. If you lose your health, you can still have a life. Okay? If you get it back, you have a life. If you're married, people get married. And sometimes, they get divorced. They still can have a life. If I take away your consciousness, bye-bye. You're not there anymore. That's who you are. That's how scientists work. They set up an experiment, a controlled experiment, and they take inputs, elements in and out, and see what happens. So I just did that with you. Change anything you want. You're rich. Now you lost all your money. Are you still there? I take away your consciousness. Now what? Bye-bye. Gone. Nothing. No experience. Nothing. Not a good one or a bad. No more truth table. No more anything. That's what you are. You in there. You're a conscious being, aren't you? And you're aware of what's going on. You're aware your heart hurts. You're aware your heart feels good. You're aware your mind's bothering you about something and bothering about something else. Oh my God, somehow my mind's not bothering me much today. I meditated and it got quiet. How do you know? Go deep into meditation. Some of you meditate. Go deep into meditation. And I want the first time that you came back and said to somebody, oh my God, that was so beautiful. There were no thoughts. My thoughts stopped. How do you know? Because I'm a conscious being and I'm in here. But aren't you your thoughts? Well, obviously not. I was there when they stopped. That's what you are. You're consciousness. So the work I'm talking about, the spiritual work, is about saying, I can't control everything out there. That's what makes my mind so weird and my heart hurt, is I decided how to do everything and I try to do it and I'm busy as hell. I'm so busy. And what about if I do the work of getting rid of all this junk that I've collected inside of me? I don't need all this junk. What do I care when I was 3 years old? Whatever age you are, it happened a long time ago. Is it happening now? No. Then it shouldn't be affecting your life. I'm going to get tough with you. I understand when things are happening. I gave you that. They do happen. And you got preference. I understand that could be an issue. But wait a minute. If they're not happening, how can you be even bothered by what's not happening? That doesn't sound very logical. Doesn't sound very healthy in any way, shape, or form. Are you bothered by your past at all? Does it ever come back and bother you? So, do the work. What? Does it have to be that way? My new book goes very deeply into this. Does it have to be that way that your past is bothering you? No. Why would it be? It's not happening. But she said, my mother said, okay, she said it 30 years ago, right, when you were 4 years old. Sorry she said that. Obviously not how you should treat a child, okay? But what's that got to do with the fact that it's not happening for 30 years and it's still bothering you? That has nothing to do with your mother. That's you. You can't blame that on your mother. She's not doing it. You can't blame that on your ex. He's not there. That's not even your ex. You're not there anymore. But you're still bothering yourself about it. You still remember how she was or he was and how it hurts you. Then you're doing this to yourself. You're doing it to yourself. When it originally happened, something, terrible things happen in this world. Let's get that straight. Do terrible things happen in this world? Do bad things happen to good people? It has nothing to do with karma. It has nothing to do with God. It's just a place. It's a place. It's a nice place. But it has hurricanes and it has tornadoes and it has not nice people. Things happen. There's reasons they happen. There's cause and effect that program people. I don't want to get into it. It's pretty complicated. It's the entire field of psychology and the field of meteorology and the field of physics. Things happen. It's called reality. That doesn't mean they're nice. It doesn't mean they're just. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means they are. They are. Is a hurricane just? It has nothing to do with it. Are the rings around Saturn just and proper? It's all the same. It's just the world unfolds. So you come to the point where you understand, let's just deal with the past. Right now, don't deal with the past, because you all understand the past should not be bothering you. So your work, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is stop it. Don't do that. It's not healthy. It's like eating junk food and making yourself sick and smoking and drinking too much. Well, of course your body's going to be sick. If I sit there and tell my mind and my heart that I keep remembering these terrible things that happened to me that hurt me in the past aren't even happening anymore, you're going to be sick. Why would I not be? To me, it makes so much sense. It's ridiculous. If I keep every single thing that ever bothered me inside of me, I'm going to be bothered. I made a collection of bothered experiences. Have you made a collection of bothered experiences? Everyone that ever bothered you, you made a collection. Well, then you're going to be bothered. So don't ask me why you're bothered. I know why you're bothered. And I'm just talking about the past. So what's this work? This is called the inner work. How do you do the inner work? Thank God you're the consciousness. You're the one who's aware that all these things are going on. That's where you do the inner work from. There's a deep yoga. You don't do it from the psyche. You don't have the mind fix the mind. What does that mean? Let's talk about it. Which is okay. You're going to go through all kinds of stages, so don't get me wrong. All right, we'll get through that at the end. But basically, if you understand what I went through really, really deeply, that makes me feel better because somebody understands me. All right, you still got the stuff. No one else understands you. You're the only one who understands me. Now you wonder why you're possessive. You're the only one who understands me. Now you know why you're jealous. You're the only one who understands me. Don't talk to her. Don't go anywhere. So that basically, that's not how you fix this thing. It can make you better. You can do all kinds of stuff. Anything that helps you is fine. I'm just talking about deep truth. The deep truth is that stuff shouldn't be in there. Why? Because it's not happening. It's in there because you stored it in there. You couldn't handle it, so you pushed it away. When you were little, when you're big, yesterday, today, whatever it is, you push things away in there, don't you? Do you have hands in there? Do you have hands in there that can push stuff around? Have you ever resisted anything that's inside of you? So basically, you pushed it away. You stored it. It doesn't go away when you push it away. I was using the example, the Colorado River didn't stop trying to flow when they built the Hoover Dam. It kept trying to flow. If they take down the dam, it's going to flow. That stuff is in there because you kept it in there. You blocked it. You resisted it. You couldn't handle it. So what's the work? I don't want to say it to you because you don't want to hear it. Learn to handle it. What do you mean? If I could handle that my mother drank and she said mean things, right? And I said, okay, now I'm grown up and people drink. I see it all the time. They do all kinds of stuff. And, there's lots of problems, right? So I got to know one, or the father or the brother or whatever it is. You just grow up and you sit there and say, okay, I understand now. I can handle that this happened. I don't have to keep this inside of me. If it happened now, what would I do? I'd handle it. I have a compassion. I have understanding. Why can't you look back at the first boyfriend about this or about that, or the person that said this, or the person that did that, or mommy or daddy or any of that kind of stuff, and just sit there and say, okay, I couldn't handle it then, but I can handle it now. Well, what good is that? When it comes back up, and it will come back up, you handle it. But I can't go back no, you don't have to go back in time. You stored it inside of you. It is going to come back up. Things will remind you of it. You will feel pain. You'll feel this. You'll feel embarrassment. Ever feel embarrassment about something you did when you were little? Like, okay, it comes back up. And what you say now is, I can handle this. I couldn't handle it then, but I can handle it now. So it comes back up. I let it go. I let it go. Just like when I drive by trees or if I drive by white lines. To me, it's all white lines. You've driven by white lines in your life, haven't you? Are they bothering you? Okay, you've had events and experiences in your life. They're over. They're over. But you didn't let them be over. So this is the inner work. You let them be over. How? You don't have to go back in time. They're happening right now to you. They come up, well, what do? They hurt. Of course they hurt. Of course they hurt. They were stored with pain. They're going to come back with pain. That's what you stored in there was pain. You stored fear. You stored insecurity. You stored pain, shame, embarrassment, guilt, everything. Right? You just stored all that stuff in there. Therefore, it's going to come back as you stored it. Do you know that it does that? Did you notice that it comes back? Did you notice you could walk into a kitchen and get a smell and it reminds you of when your mother was cooking and you either really liked your mother, so all of a sudden you feel real open, or you didn't like your mother and you feel real closed. Just from a smell. It comes back up, doesn't it? And it comes back up exactly as you stored it. With all the emotions and all the thoughts. Good. Thank God it does that. It gives me the opportunity to handle it this time. I couldn't handle it that time, but for God's sakes, I don't need this in me. I don't want this in me. I don't want to be the sum of my learned experiences. I want to be me. I want to be free. I want to feel love all the time. How's that? But I can't because I have these preferences, because I have these neuroses and these problems inside of me. So they don't leave me free to express my true self, the depth of my being. And so what can I do? When it comes back up, I can let it go. That's what letting go means. How? Don't push it back down. I can lead the horse to the water. I can't make you drink. It's going to come back up. When? All the time. It's going to come back all the time. So you choose. Either try to manipulate the environment in front of you so that it doesn't come back up, or welcome it back up and do the work that's necessary to accept and release. Then you don't realize, when it says the great was not difficult for those that have no preferences, and people say, well, how do I get rid of my preference? My favorite is this. They write me and they say, but isn't not having preferences a preference? Of course it is. And I'm not telling you to not have any preferences. I'm not telling you to get rid of your preferences. I'm not telling you to renounce your preferences. I'm not telling you to deny your preferences. I'm telling you to find out why you have preferences and let go of the root. Buddhists say work at the root. All right? I've told you why you have preferences, because it is the sum of your learned experiences. But there's all kinds of experiences you had that didn't create preferences. Right? You drive by trees, you in New York, all kinds of people go by you. 99% every day goes right through. 99% of all the experience you have all day, easily 99%, it just goes through. It's an experience I had. Doesn't create preferences, but every once in a while, something happens and you can't handle it. And so you push it away or you grab it. And that creates this stored stuff you have in that creates your preferences. So it's not about renunciation. It's not about denial. It's not about leaving the world. It's not about anything like that. It's about you. It's about in there saying, I'm a conscious being and I'm aware that I stored all this junk in here. And it's not helping. It's making me work outside. It's futile. You're not going to solve your problem outside. Because the moment you get somebody to like you, there's somebody else that doesn't. Or you don't know if they still like you. It doesn't, oh, God, please. What an amazing way to suffer, to go out there and say, I'm making myself suffer inside, but I can get you to be the way I need you to be once in a while so that I feel better about myself. Why don't you just fix what's wrong inside? It'll be all over. And we'll talk about that. How do you do that? That's your business. You're all different. I don't need to tell you. You're in there. You're in there. You see that you have all this junk in there. Let it go. How? Figure it out. You figure everything else out. You try to figure out how to get people attracted to you. You try to figure out how to get alphabet letters after your name and work your butt off to do that so that people respect you. You do all kinds of things outside to try and make it feel better for you. I'm telling you, if you fix the inside, it's all fun from then on. It's totally fun. We're running out of time, so I'll go there. I talked about past. You do the same thing with the future. You project your preferences on the future and then worry that it won't happen, or get excited because it will, and then it doesn't, you get disappointed. You're making a mess of the time between your birth and your death. You're supposed to have fun here. So basically, you work on yourself, and you just keep relaxing. That's what I found. If when the stuff comes up, I can relax. Not make it relax. It's not going to relax. It's going to be what got stored down there. You relax, lean away from the resistance. Don't let your hands push it away. But it hurts. Get used to it. No pain, no gain. You work out that way. How about we work in that way? Okay? I told you, when someone massages you and they hit a spot that really hurts, you go, yeah, right there, right there. Do that in there. You think I'm kidding. Learn. I know you don't know how to do it now. Just practice. Read the new book. The new book goes into step by step how you can work into building the ability to do this. This is the most important thing you'll ever learn. It's the most important work you'll ever do. The work you're doing yourself. So every little bit that you let go of this garbage, the world is better. Why? Because you didn't say it was wrong. You didn't say it was bad. Until ultimately, and we'll close down, you get to the point where you understand not only, this is the fringe benefit here is very, very great. Not only did I stop being afraid of the world, but I can just literally be there and be conscious and say, wow, there's rattlesnakes and there's butterflies. There's good and there's bad. And it doesn't scare you. It's like, wow, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's not hitting my stuff. Why? I let it go. And then all of a sudden you're going to realize that's amazing that you can live in the world and have a good old time. You're going to find out that because you let go of that garbage, there's this amazing magical flow of energy that awakens inside of you. You start feeling this rush of an upward flow of energy. You're going to said there's a river of joy inside of you. It's always flowing. It's true. Why don't I feel it? Because you shoved all that junk in there on top of it. That's where that stuff went. It went into your Shakti flow. It went into your energy flow, your spirit flow. As you let go of that junk, you will start to feel rushes of energy coming up inside of you for absolutely no reason until they are permanent, until they're just always going on inside of you. Well, what if somebody says something you don't like and you see yourself get hurt? It's funny. It makes the energy go stronger. If you don't resist it, it's like, look at you. Look at the heart close. You're so cute. Look at you now. And you just let it go. You let it go. And you just keep letting go. And you start realizing, this is beautiful. You're a beautiful being. And it keeps taking you higher and higher. And eventually it starts taking you so high that you live in that state. You live in a state of ecstasy. You live in a state of total well-being. And even that's not high enough. One fringe benefit is you don't have trouble with the world. The other is all this beautiful Shakti starts flowing inside of you, feeding you. What did Christ say? Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of God. That's what that is talking about. You start feeling all this rush of pure energy inside of you, lifting you, feeding you, and you love it. So your heart stays open because it's beautiful, it's feeding you, and your mind gets quieter. It's not that you got rid of your preferences, there aren't any. Why? Because this energy flow is the most beautiful thing. Every time you felt love, it was that energy. Every time you got excited, it was that energy. Now you get the energy directly, and you don't ever let anything take it away. But what if something happens I don't like? You let go. All right, now what? Then you come out here and you deal with the world. You don't not deal with the world. But you don't deal with the world because you need to manipulate it and change it and be one of the people causing all the trouble, fighting with everybody and having opinions and throwing all that junk around. You come out here, you're fine, you're filled with love and joy, and you help. You don't not help. Well, why would you get married? Because you're so filled with love, you like sharing it. Why would you go to work? Because I'm so filled with inspiration and passion that I love to express it. What if they don't pay you enough? I don't even know why they're paying me. I should be paying them. That's what your job should be. How would you like to live like that? That's what's going on in there. And that is still nothing compared to what you're capable of, who you are. Eventually, by itself, it gets so high for so long, and you get used to the flow, and you're in it, and it's beautiful, that it dawns on you. Where's this coming from? Where is this flow coming from? Everything has a source. I love it. It's beautiful. And you start to explore it. That's the deep meditation. You start to explore the source of your being. Fall back, and you'll see it's coming from me. It's coming from consciousness itself. The depth of my awareness is Satchidananda, is eternal conscious ecstasy. That's the nature of consciousness. Consciousness is not bland or empty. It has a nature itself, but you can't know it because you're busy studying what you're conscious of. So you can't explore the consciousness. Okay, as it pulls you back into it, now we're talking. That's where Christ was, that's what Buddha is, that's where the great ones is. They let go completely, and the individual consciousness fell back into the ocean. The drop of consciousness merged. Yoga means merger, union. So you're a very great being. You're not here to suffer. And I understand Buddha's teachings, and suffering and desire and preference, but not by suppressing it or fighting it, by getting to the root. That's what we talked about, and being willing to every day, every minute of every day, let go. Let go. Just keep relaxing and letting go. Go about your work, but relax and let go. And when you get good at it, you'll see that Shakti will flow inside of you and feed you forever. Jagrata.